Hi, and welcome back. If you're still with me this long, then you deserve a medal. We're on to pot 6 now. So, since pot 5, the track has moved on quite a bit. I was just checking that's still recording, yeah. I recorded part 6 last night, and then I went to edit it, and all the sound had gone weird, as is usually the way with my computer. For no reason whatsoever, it just decides to reset all its settings, and all the levels are wrong, and it sounded awful. So I'd kind of done some stuff in that, and then I carried on with a bit more stuff after it last night. So let me just sort of bring you up to date with what I've done. The track now it's completely different from the one I started out with on part 1. But hey, that's what happens. You know, you start with some ideas, you keep developing it, you take stuff out you don't like, you then bring stuff in that you do like, you get inspired by other things that you hear in the meantime, and so on. So it's kind of, at the moment, it's starting out quite a sort of a dark hypnotic-y kind of thing, which is sort of the vibe I was going for, but then I'm kind of building up and going into a bit of an acid banger partway through. But as I said, I think right at the beginning, I think on part 1, I think I probably said, you know, whenever I write a song, I'll get inspiration from hearing somebody else. So this originally was inspired by listening to a load of Tin Man stuff, which can then take him in a different way, listen to some Daniel Avery. But whatever I do, it always ends up sounding like me at the end of the day, which I guess I should embrace. That's not a bad thing. Have your own sound. People know it's you then. You know, we don't need to sound like everybody else. So that's kind of seems to be how I sort of work. I will start off trying to make it sound like somebody else, and it always ends up sounding like me. So there we go. So let's just bring you up to date with where we've got to. I'd got to the stage where I was wanted to be able to now take the track away from the studio to listen to it. That's generally how I work. When I get to a certain point in the track, I will do a rough audio recording if I'm using hardware, or if it's all software, I'll bounce it down just so I can stick it on my phone as an MP3 file, and I can listen to it in bed on my headphones. I can play it in the car. Because when you're sitting in the studio and you listen to it, not necessarily just the mix, but the whole arrangement, driving around in the car, you hear things that you don't hear in the studio. You think, yeah, I want to change that there and that there. So that's the stage I'd got to. So I was needing to commit the audio from the hardware. And at the moment, I'm only using the TB3 and the TB03 as hardware. And on the part 6 I recorded last night that went wrong, I did go through how I recorded that. So let me just quickly go through that now. If we, let's just take the TB3. What I'd done with both the TB3 and the TB03 is I recorded a load of automation that you can see there. Again, this is just very rough and ready. This is not going to be the final thing. I'm losing my voice as well today. But just so I could get a rough idea, what I will probably do is when I go for the final recording, I'll probably just do that live rather than automate it and do each one separately. But this is just like a rough thing just to get it out of the studio. So all I did basically, if I want to record that TB3, let's just go through that process. I would put a new audio track in, and then all I'm doing is the input. Sorry, on that one, I would take the input from the TB3. When I now record this, okay, I'll record that. If I play it from here, I was going to start it there, okay. If I record it from there, what will happen is this will play the TB3, and the audio will, and it will sequence it, and it will take the audio from the TB3 channel into there. So we'll see that audio start to appear in here. So if you just watch that bit, let's take it from here because it's gone back to the beginning. Okay, so we should start to get some signal over here. Might help if I press record. Reason. Again, I find this really annoys me. Every time I turn on, however it's saved, right, I've got my external instrument here. I've got it on USB 3 control, which worked fine yesterday. You come today, it doesn't work. And I have to put it in again. Now, that should be playing. That's why. Usually helps if you don't have the channel muted as well on your mixer. Right, let's try that again, and we'll get some audio going in there. Let's play from there. Okay, so you can see we've got the audio coming in there. It's a little bit quiet on the signal, but when I start to open the filters up, it will get a bit loud. Let's just do it. Okay, so that's what I've done with recording that. We can see if I just double click on that, we got that audio. I can boost the gain in here, so I can get it up if necessary. The other thing I do find is you still get a tiny bit of latency. My latency is pretty good. I've got it down to overall latency of 0.06 milliseconds and like 6, what's it on there? 6 there, which should be okay. But if we sort of look at, let me find a note such as there, right, this one here. Let's just split it from there. Okay, and I'll just crop that sample. Right, so this here should start exactly on beat 1. If we look at that MIDI note, but anyway, that one there, it should start on beat 1. If I zoom right in on this, you can see it's not exactly there. It should sort of start there. Ableton Live usually does a pretty good job of, let me just boost that up a little bit more, of kind of picking out where your transients are. But you see, I've got these it's, you know, 0.00 whatever milliseconds, but over time, it's going to throw it out a little bit. So what I would do is I'd put a marker in there, and I'd just normally say set 1.1.1 here. Okay, so it actually starts right on that first transient, just to make sure everything is nice and in time. Right, so that's what I did on the video that went wrong last night. I recorded the audio for the TB3 and the TB03. I don't need that because I've already recorded it. And what I then did was, just for a bit of housekeeping, I put these MIDI parts up at the top because I'm not now using those, which is why I had those channels muted on the MX1, which I need to do again now for playing it back, because otherwise we're going to get too much stuff going off. And that's then the audio I recorded for the TB03. And that's the audio that I recorded for the TB3. Now, when I got to this section of the I've gone for this quite overdriven sound on the TB03. One of the things I don't like about the TB03 is when you turn the overdrive up, it loses a lot of its bottom end. So I felt it needed something else going with it. So what I've actually done is I've put this new bass line in off the TB plugin that you get with Ableton Live. I think I'm not sure if it comes in the, I know, well, I've not bought it, so it came with it on one of the things I've got, but I've got the full suite, which is basically a TB303 ripoff, and it's not bad, and you get some nice bass sounds out of it. So I've just taken that same bass part, okay, so that's playing exactly the same as the TB03 does. Just gives it a bit of bottom end when I go to that overdriven section. Nothing's changed on here. The drums are pretty much the same. I've added a few percussion loops. So I've added this one in. And a shaker. Because we all need a shaker. Okay, I just put those in when it all kicks in. It goes into the section. I've also done, and this is something I've steered clear of a lot on my recent tracks, is the old cliched build-up snare drum fill. And I've not had it in my tracks for a while. And I listened to this bit and I thought, you know, it kind of needs it in that bit. So, oh, excuse me, that's I'm losing my voice. Which is this bit here. So this is just a Vengeance sample. Okay, and then we're going to that bit, and it all goes a bit Josh Wink at that point in time. But I kind of liking this. I've played this quite a lot in the car during the day today. Still liking it. So I promise I'm not going to change it again into a different song. This is it. I'm sticking with this one, whether we like it or not. So in terms of arrangement, I'd got a little drop down bit section here. And I'm thinking pretty much what I've been doing at the moment is just sort of copying and pasting and cutting out bits of the audio I've recorded. Like I say, that this is just like a rough guide audio recording I've done, and I will do a final recording when I've got the arrangement done. So I'll go for the same build up again here. And that needs to sort of change with some knob twiddling, not a bit. That's kind of like the main drop. We've only got, what, 16 bars of it there and 16 there, so I think we're going to need to go at least 32 bars on that. So all I'm going to do now, the next stage, is I'm going to just get it to a rough arrangement for the whole track. And then it's the final tweaks. And I always find that, and I can't remember, I heard somebody say this somewhere, and it is true that, okay, I've got to this stage fairly quickly. I'm on 6 videos, each one's about 45 minutes. So you can see how much time does go into making a song. That's sometimes actually getting to this stage is the quick bit. I always tend to find that the last 5% of the song can often take about 95% of your time, just all those final tweaks and the mixers and so on. Right, so this is going to be our big main drop at the end. So we're going to have a bit of variety in there, but let's have a listen. Here we've lost the dupe. Let's have some dupe in there. I'm thinking, so I'm just going to duplicate this clap across. Not going to have 2 claps, but I'm thinking a bit of ride cymbal in this end bit, and I might put kind of like a high pad sound in there as well. Let's get rid of all of that. Ride cymbal, where are you? Actually, there's not a ride in this 808. He's always a bit crap. Right, let's just go for a sample, stick it in that drum rack. Let's have a quick search for some ride sounds. Hold on, need to change that. That's not bad. Oh, let's go with that for now. I was going to stick it in that one. I may change this sound later, but it'll do for now. I was going to go straight 8th notes. So it's all 1 and 2 and copy it all across. So yeah, shortcut for this, Control D will duplicate the highlighted clip. Very useful. Control Z is undo. And then same thing with this. If I highlight that, press Control D, I can just duplicate all those across as many times as I want. And then I'm going to consolidate those down into one 16-bar clip. So click on the first one, hold Shift, click on the last one, and then Control J. We'll just put those into one big MIDI clip. Just makes it easier for moving around. So ride cymbals in there. going to do for now, I probably won't keep that sound, but like I said, I was going to just flesh out a rough arrangement so I can then start to tweak all the final sounds. And I think we're going to go with... Oh, we've got the pad to bring back in, haven't we? Let's bring him back in on that section, because we've not got that. The last 8 bars, so we're going to kind of keep it building. Let's just duplicate that across, because I'm going to use the hybrid thing again. I'm not going to use the same sound, obviously. What I like to do is then go like an octave higher with a pad on those 8 bars there. So yeah, to stick a MIDI clip in, I've highlighted that. Control Shift M. It's going to put you a MIDI clip in there, and we'll just stick a nice big long MIDI note on A#3, and we'll get a sound that we like. Let's just solo that. What have we got at the moment? It's going to be the same sound as the other one, isn't it? In fact, I might use that one that I had before in the other version. Okay. Sort of pad sound. I did have that. That's not making any difference. So I think we want that to be an octave up. Okay, so again, if you don't know these shortcuts, Shift and the page up button is going to shift that up an octave. That's going to do for now. Right, for some reason it's maxing out the CPU, which is not normally like that. Let's just save it before everything crashes. Right, so that's going to be our last drop. So then we go into the outro. So this song, I mean, already I'm at about 6 minutes, so we're probably going to be a 7-minute of this. But what I will probably do as well, when I've got it finished, I'll show you how I would do a radio edit of a song as well and get it down to like 3 or 4 minutes, just as a shorter version. Right. So we'll probably go for like a 32 bar sort of outro bit. So I'm so loop brace here. I've just duplicated something which I didn't want to duplicate. Let's just go back. Not sure what I did. Let me just rename that as snare fill. I can't spell snare. I can't type, but oh, for God's sake. Fill, just so I know what's what. Right. So yeah, loop brace, another shortcut. Again, if you just put your loop brace over the area, those 8 bars tells up here it's 8 bars, and Control D is going to duplicate all of those across. So this is where we're going to start to drop some stuff out. So we'll drop out the TB3, and I think we'll drop out the ride. was 8. I might just keep the pad in there. Okay. But obviously what will happen is at the moment I've just copied the same audio clip across for the TB-03, so that's going to change. That will change its characteristics of its sound and get quieter and so on. Right, so that's 8 bars. We'll give our DJ friends a nice long 32-bar outro so they can mix their next song in, which is what it's all about. So for the next 8, we will drop both pads. What's that giving us? So during this, the TB will kind of get calmer and calmer and go down to how it was at the beginning. Let's duplicate another 8 across. So this is 24. Have I done it? No. And we will drop out. We'll get rid of that loop. I think by this stage we'll have probably got rid of the TB, but we'll leave the other bass. Nice funky kind of ending. Another 8 bars, and that's going to be the end of the song, which is what, 6 minutes 50. Okay, so we get to this bit, we'll drop out the tom and the might keep the the claps there. Right, I think we'll have 8 bars for the clap. Get rid of the dupe. And then just okay, that I might just put a few extra bits in the end there. But that at the moment then is the basics of the whole arrangement. So we've got this quite a long intro bit. Again, this is likely to change, but this is the basics of it. We sort of got a build up here. We've got a big drop, some drop out bits here, the big long bit there. Right, so I'm just gonna let this play through, and then I'll end this video here, and then I'll work on this arrangement a bit more on the next one. Okay, so I'm just gonna play the whole song through, have a listen through. We'll see what we've got. Okay, so that's not bad. Obviously, it still needs quite a lot of work, but it's getting there. So I've just put some locators in, so I know the sections of the song now. Just check I've got that in the right place. So I know where my outro starts and so on. What I also did as well was, because I'd not copied all the MIDI across, so what I was making sure was that the MIDI, so there's the TB03 MIDI and the TB03 audio is matched up, and the same with the TB3. The TB3 audio, I suppose it would make sense to have them next to each other. Because I think the next thing I will do now is I will just mess about with recording the audio for those two. And I'm not sure, but I might automate it. I might just play it by hand and just record it, and then whatever I get done on that will be it. I'll just commit it to audio and live with it rather than fiddling about forever with the MIDI. I'm going to, again, just those, because I've got those two soft synths on that. I'm just going to freeze those because I'm getting a bit of glitching for some reason. I don't know why, but I was going to freeze those tracks. Did it do it? There we go. Just to sort my CPU out. And then what I generally will do at the end is I'll save a new version of this, and then I'll freeze everything so it's all audio, because I like to get everything eventually down to audio. I prefer to mix that way, and it stops me messing about with the sounds anymore. Commit it to audio and you're done, and that's it. So I've got a bit more housekeeping to do on here. I don't generally rename the clips, but I'll consolidate a lot of these. So I'm going to leave that there for this one. Again, it's still another quite lengthy video. So the next one in part 7, that's going to be all about recording, I think, the audio from the TB3 and the TB03. Once I'm happy with that, I can then do the final tweaks to the arrangement. Okay, that's it for this one. See you on the next one.